Okay, so hi everybody. I'm going to do this video off the cuff, basically. I didn't really have intentions to record anything anytime too soon, especially with the last video that I uploaded. I wanted to actually wait for more news to come out before I spoke about the topic even more. One of the main things that I wanted to get across in this video, because I've had so much backlash in that last video, it's unbelievable. So I had Hispanics coming after me, I had Black Americans coming after me, people saying how dare I, basically insinuating like how dare I blame this on Black Americans, that it's been proven that it was other Puerto Ricans in that shooting. And I'm going to tell you the reason as to why I presume it was Black Americans. And I did because even Lori Lightfoot herself, the mayor of Chicago, stated, and I'm going to leave the link to this in the description box. Lightfoot went on to describe the video a little bit more. And she said the actions of the shooters and bystanders aren't indicative of the, quote, young Black men in our city. Okay? That was why I did that video. So she herself said that the shooters were Black men. Now, if by chance the story comes out and it's different, it's possible. I'm not going to say that it's not. Even within my own comment section, and I'll leave a screenshot of that too as well. I said that from the video, from what I saw, it's possible that maybe a couple of the people within that group who did the killing were Latino. I said that myself. I may not have said that in the video, but I did say it in a comment. So I will leave a screenshot of what I said. Okay? What I noticed and what I knew was going to happen from this video, this has been several days that this incident has happened, okay? And even within all these days, there still hasn't been any updates with what's going on. Now, I figured that this was going to happen. And basically, the fact that people were criminalizing this couple because there's pictures of them on their social media of them holding guns. How many whites, blacks, other groups have pictures of themselves on social media holding guns? I will say that, I do think that it looks pretty ghetto. I'm not gonna lie. I think, just for any group of person, I think, posing in pictures with guns to me doesn't look cool at all to me. To me, it looks pretty trashy, okay? However, just because I think it looks trashy doesn't mean that I believe that these people that are taking photos like this are criminals. Nobody posted anything regarding these people having any type of criminal background. But they took pictures instead to use as a means to justify criminalizing these people and basically underhandedly justifying their deaths. I would say the nerve, but again, I'm for people who like to come on here and speak in regards to Puerto Ricans here that were born here in the States, who have been here for generations, you guys got a lot of nerve. Especially if you guys have only been here for like a generation or so. Your parents migrated here in the 80s and the 90s. Who the fuck are you to talk on us? Okay? Who? Other than the stuff that you read in textbooks and, friends that you have that are probably millennials, what do you really know? And even the people that you know that may be older, if their family doesn't go back living in this country from being here, migrating here in the 40s, 50s, before that, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You don't know what you're talking about. The same way that us Puerto Ricans here that are Americanized, that are born here in the States, the same way that I believe that we shouldn't be speaking in regards to what goes on in Puerto Rico and the rest of Latin America. I touch on those things occasionally on my channel. But those are statistics. And those are things that you really can't argue. And if you want to argue those points, then you go argue with those people who made those statistics and not me. I don't believe that we should be speaking in regards to stuff that happens in Latin America. I don't. We don't live there. Now, we can be thoroughly educated in the topics, fine. But if we don't live there, we're not planning on living there, what is our right to be speaking on that? And to be speaking on what happens to the well-being of the people that live over there. Now, the same way that I believe in that is the same exact way that I believe that you guys who are not Puerto Rican, who are not New Yorker, who have not been here for several, 3, 4 generations, it's the same exact way that I don't think that you guys should have the right to be speaking in regards to us and our conditions. It is the same thing. You're looking through things in your foreign lens. We're looking through things through our American lens. And it's annoying. It really is. And the fact that people are, the reason why I'm used to this type of criminalizing Puerto Rican people, this is not new. This is stuff that's been going on ever since my grandparents' time. When there were the first waves of Puerto Ricans coming here. That happened to them. That happened to my parents. It's happened to me. And a lot of Latin people fall for that shit. And usually that's something that is promoted by our mainstream media. And for generations, it's been the case that I've heard of other Latin people from different Latin groups going along to get along with that rhetoric to put us down. So when I hear other Latin people doing the very same thing, I'm not surprised. I'm not at all. Latin, and it's the audacity and the nerve to criminalize us and make us seem as though, we are, the worst of the worst. Meanwhile, Latin America, places like Mexico and Puerto Rico and Colombia have the highest crime rates in the entire world. Brazil. But yet they got people from these places thinking that it's okay to talk about our criminality. As if they don't have stuff going on over there. And they just want to blame everything solely on Black American culture. Which, by the way, this might offend some Black Americans. This might offend some Hispanic Americans. Puerto Ricans were a part of hip hop since its inception. I have a video on that I did over a year ago. How could we be culturally appropriating something that we've been a part of since the very beginning? Make it make sense. And what I hear a lot of Latin people do is that they'll use the accomplishments of hip hop on the one hand to say, hey, we were a part of hip hop too, while simultaneously distancing themselves from us when they want to say, hey, no, you know what, we shouldn't be, listening to hip hop, and we don't want anything to do with hip hop culture, and stay away from Black American culture. But then they'll go at the same time and give props to people like Big Pun and Fat Joe. You think I don't hear stuff that's gone on here, and that I don't hear the way Latin people talk? I've heard Latin people say stuff like this. I've heard Dominicans say stuff like this. They'll pedestalize Fat Joe and Big Pun when they want to out of convenience to be like, hey, you know, these were some very talented artists. And then simultaneously go and insult hip hop. So we're basically pushed in and pushed out of convenience. This happens all the time with us. I mean, whites and blacks have been doing that with us forever. So don't think that we don't realize or recognize when it happens when other Latin people do it to us. I think that we're too open of a group, and I think that that is a detriment to us. It's always been a detriment to us. And I'm seriously at the point where it's like, I'm just down for individuals who are down for me, for Puerto Rican people, for the things that I have to say. I believe that I'm a very balanced person. And when I did that video, nowhere was I implying that all Black Americans are going against Latin people. The same way that when I did all these videos of police brutality, I did about maybe 20 videos where I've even had other Latin people bitching to me about doing those videos. And I had people complaining about that, and I would have white people sometimes come to those videos and saying that those people deserved it. None of those videos did I say all white people are evil and that they're devils and that they're trying to kill us. No, I've never said anything like that ever. The only thing that I've ever tried to do on this channel was to speak about the aggressions that we face as a group from white Americans and Black Americans, and I am speaking in regards to the American experience, the Latino experience here in the States, specifically. I'm not involving everybody else. I'm not. Because I genuinely believe that we have issues here that we need to remedy here before we can even try helping other people. But the nerve, the audacity of some people to get on their proverbial high horses and act as though their groups from Latin America don't have problems, and that we are like the epitome of what it means to be the worst of the worst. You guys got some nerve. You guys got some nerve. The one thing that I can say about Nuyorican is that we are the ones who call each other out the most. And this is in real life. I cannot speak for social media. And the reason why I cannot speak for social media is because I believe that a lot of Puerto Ricans that are on social media are usually the younger generations. And yes, they are the very Black identified Puerto Ricans. So what they're doing is fighting for Black rights, Afro, Latino representation on Telemundo and Univision, right? Like, that's what they care about. And if somebody comes to my channel and if any of you guys think that that's what I really care about, I'm sorry, my apologies, I don't. I did that video with regards to the In the Heights issue because number one, it was trending, and because number two, as someone who's lived in New York City for the very, very huge bulk of my life, who was born and raised there, and grew up around a lot of Dominicans, I felt that the movie itself wasn't really accurately represented when it comes to Afro-Latinos. There was a lot of, Black Latinos in New York City from when I was there. Am I saying all Dominicans are Black? No. Am I saying the vast majority look like the woman who was complaining to Lin-Manuel Miranda? Am I saying that they look like that? No, I'm not. So I'm trying to make myself as perfectly clear as I possibly can. There was a lack of representation in that movie. There was, because there are a good amount of Black Dominicans, and yeah, fine, there's a lot of Black Puerto Ricans too. I've never denied there being Black Puerto Ricans. People are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Meanwhile, the bulk of the cast is Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans who, and a few of them from what I saw, are as white passing or light or whatever you want to call it as I am. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that there's no Dominicans that look like me, but I will say that most of the ones I met look more on the mixed side. More on the mixed side, more on the Afro side. I've met some white ones. This ain't even about freaking Dominicans, okay? So that was the only reason why I did that video. Not because I'm here trying to cape for any Afro-Latinos. Get the fuck out of here, I'm not. This is not that channel. If you really watch my archives and you really listen to me in times that I've gotten into it with other people, because I do not believe in light skin privilege. And if you're a Puerto Rican that believes in light skin privilege in any way, this is probably not the channel for you either, because I do not agree with that at all. There's too much stuff and studies that I found with aggressions made against Latin people who are fairer skinned Latin people in this country for me to believe that there is a privilege. And people always want to use this media thing as the privilege. To me, that's not privilege. Bringing up J-Lo 50 billion times as a talking point for how whiter Puerto Ricans are represented. J-Lo's been out for fucking 30 years already. Who other than J-Lo? Who? And, you know, I'm really at the point where, you know, I know that this is not a balanced platform, and I know that people have been coming for my head for the longest. All right, so more people coming for my head, fine. I am a lone ranger on here. I will say that I appreciate the people who subscribe, because I did get new subscribers. But at the very same time, you disagree with me, unsubscribe. I am not here to pander to anybody. I am not here to be like, oh, you know, we have to all fight together and we all have to, like, look, I'm at that point where it's like, you're either with me or you're against me, period. You're either with me or you're against me. And I'm used to people being against me. And I'm used to having a certain way of thinking that's different than other people. I'm used to it. This has been my whole life. So ever since I was very young, being alone with this doesn't bother me. I didn't come on this platform for fucking clout. I came on this platform because there was two individuals at the time that for some reason didn't believe that I was saying who I was. And that was basically how I started my channel. And these two individuals, I didn't really agree with their rhetoric. They don't agree with mine. Who cares? But I'm not on here to, like, you know, make friends with everybody and be good with everybody. I'll be respectful as long as you're respectful with me, and that's it. But I'm not here for anything else. I'm here to share my views on the world, to share my views on current events. And that's it. But I'm also not a victim either. And with a lot of the things that I've been through my life, personally, I can be a victim if I wanted to. And trust and believe, racism is not the biggest problem that I've had in my life. And I think for most Latin people, those are not the biggest problems. This was probably a rant. It probably came out as a rant. I don't care. I don't care if people took it offensively. You know, I am sick and tired of the shots thrown at us. And I'm also sick and tired of New Yorkers being so passive about it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so fucking passive. So passive. And then the thing is that some of you guys even join in with these other Latin groups to be like, yeah, you're right. You know, we're so terrible. Yeah, we're so bad. You got like no backbone. The fuck is your backbone? My God. I don't want those people over here. Please keep them. Keep them over there with you guys. I don't want them at all. Whether you're white identified, Euro identified, Spaniard identified, black identified, African identified, Taino identified, I don't care. Please keep that energy in those places. My goodness. Got like no backbone. God. Don't call out the hypocrisy of these people. You just, yes, yes, we're so bad, yes. It's pretty sad, you know? I mean, it's one thing for us to admit our faults, which, again, I believe that we do. I definitely know that I do. I definitely know that I have my ghetto points. The same way that all these other Latin people on here seem to have their ghetto points too. However, they tend to just focus on ours and point at ours. But they don't talk about theirs. And they don't talk about what's going on in their countries that's also ghetto. Third world country ghetto, might I add. Come on. For real. Anyway, I think with that, I'm gonna go for now. If by chance the news comes out, and let's say it was black Puerto Ricans that killed that couple, they're like, okay, black Puerto Ricans killed that couple. I did say in that video that I did that I believe that those people were targeted because they were fairer skinned. And it turns out that there was actually a woman who, by her last name, I believe it was a white woman, but if you look at her, she can kind of pass as a Puerto Rican. And she was killed a few hours prior to when that couple was killed. It's like as if she was targeted. Now, do I believe that it is a fucking woe is me thing and that everybody should feel sorry for us? No. But what I'm saying is I'm pointing out stuff that happens to us. These things aren't new. Those dudes were throwing up gang signs. And by the looks of it, if there were some Puerto Ricans there, it looked like it was a mix of Puerto Ricans and black Americans. There are gangs where there's both Puerto Ricans and black Americans and other Latin people in the gangs. But it is what it is. And I think with that, I'm gonna go. This is probably gonna be the last video where I'm gonna be talking face to face for now. I'm due in like a few weeks. My baby is coming in a few weeks. Like, you can't see it from here, but yeah, my baby is gonna be here and actually making the time to do this. Anyhow, I'm gonna go for now and I'll see you all in my next video. Take it easy.